There's a good chance you're listening to this podcast because you want to make some money online. I mean, that's why we're here. We want to make some money online. Maybe not directly from this podcast, but in general, that's what we do. Now, a lot of us start with that idea. How do you make money online? I know that was my first Google search 12 years ago. Pretty basic, but that's what I wanted. And if you're in that boat where you want to make some money online, then you probably already know that there are a million different ways to make money online. And the truth is, while some of them might not work for you in the beginning, they pretty much all work if you stick with them. Now, what we're going to talk about today is how you get to the point where you go from beginner to becoming an expert marketer who's making the kind of eye-popping numbers that you see. We're going to talk about the evolution of your marketing content and how it changes over time. But in the beginning, when you are out there trying to make money, what I see a lot of folks do is they try to emulate other creators. The problem is, while modeling success can work, when you try to take a little bit from here and a little bit from there, your campaign loses its congruency and your voice kind of gets lost in the shuffle. And it's harder to see success that way. Most of the time, it's easier to follow one person, one plan, and see it through. Then, after success, you can focus on the evolution of your marketing, because taking a bunch of random pieces is like saying you want to be a professional athlete. And then on Monday, you play golf. On Tuesday, you shoot hoops. On Wednesday, you hit the pitching mound. And then on Thursday, you get in the wrestling ring. It doesn't make sense. That's what we're going to talk about today. What do you think, Andrei?
I think it's a great topic. I think people are confused, honestly. They start with their business with this big idea. And you said it right? The goal is not really to start a business. The goal is to make money, right? Let's make some money first. Let's get the blood flowing, through your veins. And then you can focus more on the business aspect of it. But yeah, I feel like people are confused. You want to share the example that you shared with me about this person creating content as a
Yeah,
beginner?
absolutely. So I was scrolling around TikTok yesterday, and I scroll TikTok differently than people in the beginning phases of their journey. So the people in the beginning phases, I think they're out there looking for inspiration, maybe looking for hooks that they can use to go hopefully viral. When I scroll TikTok these days, I'm looking at the marketers in the space and I'm seeing what their struggles are, where they're having trouble, what they're doing maybe incorrectly or not efficiently. But that's because I teach beginners. So I'm looking for clues to help me hone in on what I can do to help. And in doing so yesterday, I came across someone that I had never seen before. But the reason this video caught my attention is because this girl, who I don't know, was in the Roadmap to Riches and Master Resale Rights game, I suppose. And I thought it was interesting because we had the creators of that program on this podcast. I believe it was episode 48, Zach and Hannah Pippins. So I took notice. And the reason it caught my attention as well was because she was talking about how she's been doing this for 2 months online. I could see that she was posting consistent content and she hadn't made any sales yet. So I decided I was going to create a video response to it. I did a little stitch because her opening line was a good, strong hook for the type of people I might want to attract to my program. It's people who are struggling with digital marketing. But her hook was, I've been doing this for 2 months and still no sales. So I looked at her content. I looked at her bio. I looked at her funnel. And I noticed a few red flags. So I think that's where we're going to start with today, right? Right, Andrei? That maybe the red flags with the content?
Yeah. So basically, this person was creating content not for the right audience as a beginner, correct? She was emulating content from people that have already been doing this for a long time in the industry, and she was emulating maybe results. Is that fair to say, or what was she selling? How was her content? Was she selling to an advanced person or a beginner?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And you brought up an interesting point when we were trying to figure out how we were going to structure this episode, but we'll digress a little bit and talk about what she was doing. So she was selling Roadmap to Riches, Master Resale Rights program. Quite simple, beginner friendly, step-by-step training. You sell it as a white labeled product, meaning you brand it as your own. You sell it to other beginners so they can get the basics of funnel building, content creation, payment processor integration, and all that stuff. But the thing that comes along with it is the rights to resell the program. So that's kind of the general idea. You buy into this, you learn some stuff. The training is good. But then you turn around and that's also your first product. You turn around and sell it. So it's a great way to start. It cuts down the time to implementation. It's kind of like killing two birds with one stone, which is great for beginners, right? Get the ball rolling before the chance of procrastination sets in. So obviously she's trying to attract beginners. And as I'm looking through her content and her bio on TikTok, I noticed two immediate red flags. First of all, her content was in her heart, in her intentions, it was great. She was trying to not just sell the dream, she was trying to provide value. But one of the first things I noticed after scrolling through a lot of her content was that she was creating content that was going over the heads of the very beginners she was trying to attract. She was teaching stuff that the beginner won't think about because once again, when you're first getting started and you're a stay-at-home mom or you're, working 60 hours a week like we were trying to get out of the restaurant industry, you don't care about what a funnel should look like. You don't care about starting a business. That's not in your mindset. Your mindset is the pain of the situation you're in and the fact that you want to make money. So what was happening is she was creating this content that wasn't attracting the right people. What it was attracting is folks who were already purchased into the program and struggling as well. So basically what she was doing is building up an audience of people that would commiserate with her and leave comments. Well, the bad thing that happens then is now the algorithms see that all of these people who are very obviously new to the digital marketing game and selling roadmap because their names were like Bree Digital Marketing and Jenny Hustle and make money with Camilla or whatever, you know what I mean? It was like, okay, I don't even have to look at their profiles to know that they're doing master resale rights and roadmap to riches as well. But anyways, they're all commenting, saying things like "same girl" and "I'm running into this problem as well," or "keep going," cheering her on. So the algorithms see that and be like, "Wow, people who are doing roadmap to riches and creating this kind of content really like this creator, so let's find more of them." So she's just going the long way to attract more people who aren't going to buy from her. So that was red flag number one. And red flag number two was her actual bio. When I clicked over to her bio, the same patterns were repeating themselves. And I don't remember what it was specifically, but it was like, I help people start authentic businesses. Once again, the beginner who might be interested in purchasing a beginner-friendly business opportunity like Roadmap to Riches does not want to start a business. They want to make money. So her messaging was off.
Yeah. Okay, so let's break this down, right? Red flag number one. Is it fair to say that she was teaching too early, right? Because she's still a beginner, right? So you think she's confused about how to give value, right? Because you say that she was started talking about funnels and stuff like she was struggling with, but then a complete beginner is not gonna understand what you're talking about, right? Your audience is not gonna know. Okay, that's why she's attracting those people that already are in the system, right? So if you talk like that in your content, which I have done in the past too, I was talking about ClickFunnels, I was talking about Aweber, how to do this, how to do that. And I wasn't attracting the people that I wanted to attract, right? Because just how you said in the beginning, you want to make the sale, right? So how do you make the sale? Not really talking about teaching those certain areas that you need for your business, but in order to educate them with the business model, right? It's like more strategic, I guess you can say, or not as specific when you create that type of content. Because if you're that specific, people are gonna be like, I don't know what you're talking about, right? Like I'm still a beginner. Like of course I haven't made a sale because I'm teaching maybe more advanced stuff.
Yeah, and I
You
think
think that's what the red flag number one is?
I don't think that the red flag was necessarily that she was trying to teach too early because when you pick something up, it's great to share it. But I think she was teaching in the wrong way. And what I mean by that is, if you dive right into it and start talking about funnels or different tactics, you skip over the introduction phase, right? You got to take people on the journey. So instead of jumping straight into it, it might have been more effective for her and the audience she wanted to reach by saying, have you ever wanted to make money online? Well, you're probably scared of the tech. Funnels are actually pretty easy. And then just go into a quick explanation of what a funnel is, what it does, and how it's nothing to be scared of, right? Rather than trying to teach people how to build a better one or, why they need one, just focus on the beginner mindset. it's nothing to be scared of. That is the value that she should be bringing. And once again, I don't think it's teaching too early. I just think it's the value has to be catered to the target market. And value can be a lot
Mm,
of different things, right? Value can
right.
be education, or value can be motivation, building
Yeah.
the belief.
Yeah. But I feel like, in the beginning, you should, of course, teach, you can teach, right? But teach about the business model, like the broad side of it. I feel like you should focus on that instead of how you said, the funnels, how to make stuff like that. Because in the beginning, you can tell people, yeah, you're gonna need a funnel, you're gonna need this, you're gonna need that, you're gonna need a domain, you're gonna need a professional email, you're gonna need a software to do emails, all of that stuff. And then at the beginner mindset is like, I don't know what you're talking about. You get me?
Right.
So instead of jumping to that area, teach the business model, like the broad side of it, which is, if you're doing affiliate marketing, you make a commission if you make a sale, right? You recommend products, you make a sale. That's more easier to explain to somebody. But then that's easier, right? But then when they're already in the system, then they learn everything that they need. But the most important thing is that they're already in there, right? They
Right.
already took action. So they're already in there. So you don't really have to talk about those stuff in the beginning because it's gonna go over their head, just how you said it, right? It's not catered for the beginner.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head. Even though you didn't say it specifically, you really led into it beautifully by saying, don't teach about the pieces, teach about the opportunity, right? I know we both saw a
Yeah.
lot of success with that from the affiliate marketing standpoint. I used to teach a lot of why affiliate marketing was more simple than other business models. Not easier necessarily, but more simple, meaning you don't have to worry about product creation. You don't have to worry about customer service aspects of it. You don't have to worry about charging
Mhm.
credit cards, right? That's value. That's introducing someone to an opportunity where they may not have known it existed, and therefore are now excited that there is a lower barrier to entry in this make money online game. So they're willing to come into your funnels, and that's when they start learning about email autoresponder and creating content and all that stuff that comes along with it. But like you said, you're right. You already captured that email. You've already captured that
Mhm.
content. They're in, or that contact, excuse me, they're in your ecosystem.
Exactly, exactly. So you gotta take a step at a time, right? One step at a time. And what about the red flag number two, right? The bio. You say that she was teaching people how to start a business, right? Most people don't want to start a business because when people hear, yeah, you should start a business, they start thinking about how much it's gonna cost. So
100%.
they're already thinking about, okay, how much money is how, I don't want to do that, right? You want to start a side hustle with the littlest less money possible. And then I feel like you'll be more motivated if you see that on the bio. I teach you how to make money, or I teach you how to make money from home. 1 to 2 hours a day, or something like that was more powerful than I'm gonna help you create a business, right? So a lot of negative things and thoughts are gonna happen with somebody reading that right from the beginning, because that happened to me too. I didn't know this was gonna be a business, right? I just wanted to make some cash. That's all I wanted to do because I needed it, right? I was in that point where I was desperate, and starting a business was never my goal, but it evolved into an actual business because I saw the potential after the fact that I already took action to make some money.
Yeah, 100%. I remember back to my early days, even though it was 12 years ago. If you had told me that eventually it would evolve into something that required two, three, four, $5,000 of monthly overhead, I'd have been like, nope, this is not for me. That's what was so attractive about the affiliate marketing model to me at the time. Hosting, okay, that's like $10 a month. Domain name, that's like $10 a year. And then time. Okay, I've got $10 a month, $10 a year, and a little bit of time. Right. So that was what attracted me to the business model. Like you said, it evolves over time. Who knew that it would end up where it would end up. But at the beginning, you're right. My motivation was simply to make some money. And I think we should maybe dive deeper into the point you brought up about the evolution of your marketing and how modeling success can be a great tool. You have to be careful to model the right success, meaning if you emulate people who have already had all the success, already have all the followers, already have the community full of people watching their every move, sitting on the fence, then it's not going to work for you, right?
Exactly. And remember, last episode, or maybe 2 episodes ago, we talked about ways to market, right? So I did a video recently. I was like, I can't show you how to make 200K a month, but I can show you how to make 100 to $500 a week. You get me? So it's like complete shift in my marketing, right? Because I don't want to attract the people that want to be millionaires. I want to attract the people that want to get out of debt. The simple goals, right? The first goals, get out of debt, go on vacation, maybe buy a house eventually, right? Just the simple goals that I had, and my goal was never to become a millionaire, right? But those small goals, I grabbed those small goals, able to accomplish them by starting this simple side hustle. So when I posted the video, I got a lot of great feedback from people. They're like, I love that transparency, because it's just how you say, when you shoot too high, you're gonna not attract that many people because they're already gonna think it's a scam, basically, right? So that's the thing that I did with my shift in content, and it's been getting received. It's receiving more better feedback, I guess you can say, more positive feedback, which is great, right? Because I was so used to doing income claims too, but now I'm doing the shift, and I feel like I'm attracting people how I used to attract people back in the day. So it's like I'm getting the rush back, I guess you can say.
Yeah, it's exciting when you see those views start coming in. And I think what we have to remember is that while our marketing evolves and our business evolves and our strategies evolve, the market also evolves as well. So when we first got started, Andre, TikTok was fairly new. And I know I've talked about this on a previous podcast episode. It used to be before the TikToks and the Instagram reels and the Facebook reels of the world, someone had to be a self starter, meaning they had to go actively search Google or YouTube if they wanted to learn how to make money. Well, the way the algorithms work with the TikToks of the world now, it's that stuff is thrown in our face just through mindless scrolling. So the market became educated in the grand scheme of things rapidly within the course of a couple short years. Now the market knows, hey, you can make money online. There's lower barrier to entry businesses out there that will work. I don't have to create a storefront or develop an e-commerce platform, or I don't have to buy small businesses and all those things that have large cash requirements in the beginning. So the market's educated. So now we don't have to say, hey, here's the potential as much anymore. It's more about, okay, here's the realistic goals. I can show you how to get there, because people already want to make money online now. They've been inundated with the idea. Now we just got to show them that we can help them.
Yeah, I seen a lot of people making those contents. For example, I bought $1 million house, right? But then I keep scrolling, and then I see people hating on those people. Look, I'm a digital marketer. I made $1 million and I bought a house. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Like it's just it's getting so negative, because when you're successful, people want to put you down somehow, right? And then next week you see all these content creators crying on their videos because somebody said something negative. And it's just like, why does it have to get to that point, right? Like just focus on you, yourself, and then just do it. I guess this is a different topic that we can talk about, the negative of creating content, right?
Yeah, and I think it you know evolves around what we were talking about before we went live with this episode. Is there's a point where if you want to take this whole marketing online game a certain route, you kind of shift from marketer, traffic driver, funnel creator, opportunity presenter, to you shift to an influencer, really. And you shift to more of a social selling strategy where you have tens or hundreds of thousands of people who want to see your daily life. And that's when the negativity comes in. It's just it's we could say I wish it didn't have to be that way, but the bottom line is that's just what happens. It happens in all aspects. When Taylor Swift becomes a billionaire and has one of the most successful world tours ever, and then she just wants to date a football player, she gets crapped on because she shows up at the football games and we show her on screen. And if you don't like her you know, honing in on or breaking into your football broadcast, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But the bottom line is it's she's gotten successful now. People want to tear her down. And that's the same thing that happens in the digital marketing space.
Yeah, it's funny about the Taylor Swift. What people get mad that they show her on the screen. But then there's commercials like every 5 minutes or less. Every 2 or 3 minutes, there's commercials. You get me? So they don't get mad about the commercial, but they get mad about that. Like it doesn't make any sense. Um, so yeah, influencers, right? It gets to the point where their marketing evolves so much that now they're not trying, like how you say, they're not trying to attract the new people, showing the opportunity. They're now showing who they are, who they really are, right? And that's when the problems, I guess, start happening because then people start realizing who you are as a person. Um, but I feel like, that's the influencer side of the marketing. At least like me and you, we talk so much on the podcast. So people already know who we are and how we act and what we think like, you get me? So it's just like having this podcast, I know many people have the balls to do this, honestly, right? Because we're just talking, having a conversation, and we've been doing this for what, 2 years? What? No, almost
This is
a year and a half,
episode
maybe.
67 or 68, one of those two. So yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, almost a year
so
and
a
a
year
half,
and
I
a half,
think.
and people have started podcasts in the past, right? And I've seen them going, and then they don't get this far. That's why I'm so proud about this podcast and how we're doing it. Because there's no pressure. Honestly, there's no pressure. We just talk once a week, maybe twice a week, and then see you next Tuesday. You get me?
Yeah,
Like that's it.
exactly.
It's something so simple.
Yeah, and it does. It helps people get to know us, and that's part of the marketing, and that's part of what these very successful marketers are doing is they're just letting people get to know them, and they're really, I always like to bring it back to principles of marketing. What are they really doing by showing their lifestyle and becoming this influencer? Well, they're showing the transformation, how their life changed because of this opportunity, and as we know from our marketing education classes and books that we've read over the years, I mean, that's really what you're selling. You're selling not the information, you're selling the transformation, right? That's one of the most
Mhm.
buzzworthy quotes from anyone who's selling digital products is you sell the transformation. So that is what they're showing. And it's very tempting to try to do that in the beginning. But if you haven't built up the following, if you haven't shown the journey the whole time, then it looks fake and no one cares. Right? A lot of these people who are doing the social selling or transferring into influencer marketing, it's because they shared their journey all the way from day one. They showed the struggles. They showed the first big commission. They showed the first $5,000 month. So there, believe it or not, are either a lot of people who've been following them for 2 years waiting to jump into the game, or B, there's a lot of people who see content from them and then catch some of their old content and realize, hey, this person started just like me and it's effective. But you have to
Yeah.
wait till to your to your business has evolved to the point where you have those things, those stories, those published articles, those published blog posts, the followers that have been with you for years.
Yeah, because you're sharing the transformation, you're sharing the progress, your wins. Because in the beginning, you're not gonna have that many big wins. But if you keep sharing something that I used to do was I kept updating how much money I was making, like on my bio on Instagram. I was like, hey, I made $5,000. Next month, $10,000. Next month, $70,000. Do you get me? So like little things like that, it shows a transformation. Um, but then when you're that big, it gets to the point where those numbers don't really matter anymore. You get me? Like it just I don't know. I don't know. It's weird how everything's happening right now. Because back in the day nobody was making 200K a month. You get me? Or more than that, 400K a month. It's different. And it's just how, I saw a video talking about in 1991 when your parents were making 30K a year, now that's worth 180K a year. So now the new 30K is 180K. You get me now in this lifestyle. So it's just like it makes me think like, it's also inflation and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's just the opportunity, right? More people are just trying to find out what they're doing. But it's weird because back in the day, nobody was making, more than 100K a month, right? Like with one program at least. It's just evolved into something, but I feel like it's hurting the market, honestly. I feel like it's hurting the market because now the beginners starting, it's just gonna be so hard for them to get to that point. Like those people are helping so many people get started, but I feel like they're gonna struggle to get to the same point as their mentor, I guess you can say.
Yeah, I think the problem is what used to work will no longer work. You know what I mean? There was a buildup, and it started with us back in 2020, 2021, where we built this up and got the ball rolling. I'm not afraid to admit that we were on the early stages. We got the ball rolling of the way, affiliate marketing, legendary marketer, master resale rights has tapped into it. The way they're promoted now, I mean, we're the ones who got the ball rolling. And then there's a situation where in the beginning the first adopters or the early adopters jump in, and that's where we made our money. The people who were like, "Yep, I'm all in. This sounds great." Then when we were marketing, there was the masses who and to say when I say when we were marketing these types of programs, I should say there's the masses who are very skeptical because they're not early adopters. They're like, I don't know, man, this seems crazy. Well, then as the market evolves, now you're in a situation where okay, there's just too much social proof out there. We've been seeing people do this since 2020. Now it's 2024, and more people are coming in and getting these types of crazy results. So the masses start trickling in. Well, that happens fast. And that's what's happening right now. That's why you're seeing $500,000 months. You know what I mean? Let's not joke here. That's significant income that only happens for very few, but they happen to be on top when the masses started rolling in. And I know Dave Sharp and I, who's the CEO of Legendary Marketer, have been talking about this for probably years now. Especially back in like 2022 when it was like, oh, the market's saturated. It's like, no, the
Hmm.
masses are coming. I promise you, the masses are coming. And I would say this again and again. Dave would be like, absolutely right. The masses are coming. Well, that's what's happening right now. The masses are coming. But like to your point, if you're not on top right now, you're going to miss the influx of the masses, so to speak. Now, that doesn't mean it's too late. And I know this for a fact because when I was in the drop shipping game, in the e-commerce game early on back in 2016 and 2017, the same patterns repeated themselves. I was early. I got all the early adopters. A lot of the early adopters were highly motivated, and a lot of people became successful through a lot of the training that I offered. Well, then eventually the masses came in, and I made a mistake at that point, Andre. I was like, ooh, all these new people are coming in. I'm no longer the king. I should have fought my way to the top. Instead, I was like, let me shift because it's the mistake I made, Andre, was not giving up because I've obviously still been able to stay in this business. The mistake I made was thinking that it was crashing, that it was
Hmm.
over, that it was done. And that was completely wrong because if you go on YouTube now, there's still people out there creating drop shipping videos in 2024. I could have very easily stayed in the business. Not that I wanted to, but there are people who came up with me who are still in the business. It's not done. It's just you're going to have to shift your marketing in order to be successful.
Yeah, there's a lot of people still looking for drop shipping, right? People still think that drop shipping is the best business model to start as a beginner because the search trend is still popping up, right? There's videos suggested talking about drop shipping all the time, and then the new opportunities come, like marketing, affiliate marketing. Then you get the master resale rights, so it's new businesses, and I'm sure next year there's gonna be a new business coming up, right? And then people are gonna jump to the business. And something that Dave also talks about is all this. There's a lot of people that do this. They create their own program and then they stop, right? They just die off. But in the other hand, legendary marketer is still going strong. Year plus every single year, they're still going strong. And the reason why that is because he's so focused on his business, honestly, right? He's improving it every time. And I would think that I like about it is that whenever he makes an improvement, he doesn't call it 2.0 or or something else, right? He keeps it the same as the brand, legendary marketer, and he does the upgrades, right? He makes it better, but it's still branded with the same name. It's not a different program. It's still the same program. It's still the same vision, right? So I think that's what's important. A lot of people try to upgrade the whole program, but then I don't know, they call it something else, right? And then it's just like, okay, well, you had to make it better. But what if you just make it better and then keep improving it, while you go and you keep doing it, right? I think that's more valuable than creating a new different program.
Yeah, I think so too. And it's important to note that before Dave started Legendary Marketer, he was successful. He built a business that, there's maybe a little bit of negative press because of his business partner. So we won't
Yeah,
dive into that. But the bottom line is he knew what he was doing. So when he created Legendary Marketer, he had a clear vision of what he wanted to do. If you're just getting started and you're creating your first product, it's okay to shift because you might try something and realize, ooh, the branding wasn't right, or the name wasn't right, or the delivery of the assets or the training wasn't right. So you can change at that point. But once you get to the point where you have the vision, then yes, you will benefit from being singularly focused on your business, going all in. And like you said, just growing that thing and making it better, improving it,
yeah,
but not changing the name. It's not like Apple changes the name. I mean, they give different versions of their iPhone, but they're still just Apple,
exactly.
and everything associated with Apple is the same thing they have going on in the Legendary Marketer. It's shifted, content has changed with the times, but the bottom line is it's still the vision that he started with, which is how do you become a legendary marketer. So a lot of props to him, a lot of respect, because it's not easy to do. It's easy to get shiny object syndrome and want to shift around. But if you stay the course, pretty amazing things can happen after 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah, and they're expanding right now. I mean, they're doing masterminds in new places now. I think the next one in June is gonna be in New Orleans. So before their masterminds used to be in Orlando, right? But so now things are gonna change. They're gonna go to different cities. So it's growing, right? Like it's exciting. They also invite previous guests, So it's like, I don't know, I'm waiting for the invitation, one day. I
Exactly. Yeah, I
think,
don't know. I don't know if we
yeah,
drive
I don't
enough
think so
revenue
because we
anymore
don't.
to be invited.
I know. Well, the thing that he said on the video was that he was only gonna invite people that were actively promoting it, right, as their main offer. Yeah, I mean now we're way past that.
Yeah, I still make a few
So
$1,000 a month, but I'm certainly not anywhere near the leaderboards, which have been discontinued. So I'm not holding my breath for my
yeah,
invite. But if he asked, I'd be there in a second. But yeah, so let's shift back to the beginner, right? We talked about the way the market is shifting and how maybe they missed out on being a leader when the masses came in. But what can they do, right? It's not too late. It's going to keep going. Affiliate marketing has been around since at least 1996, so it's not going anywhere. The opportunity to make money online will continue to be searched. There's always going to be people who want to follow a new leader, follow a new marketer, jump into a new opportunity. So what does the beginner do if they're not going to emulate the success of the influencers out there making $500,000 a month? What should they do? Let's dive into that. Any thoughts?
yeah. So they have to change their messaging, right? You can't just model big players in the game. Start. I would I would say start with sharing your story, right? Because that's the most important thing. Why you started the business, or why did you want to make money online? That's the first thing. So changing the messaging is important because just how you say, you can emulate people that are doing great right now. You know, something that we talked about it. I feel like last week. I think it was, let's see what people are doing now, like check out big accounts, but instead of check doing now, scroll all the way to their beginner stages. What type of content they were making when they first created the account. I think that's the biggest tip I can give anybody, right? Look what they were doing in the beginning. Don't look what they're doing now because it's not the same thing, right? It's not the same thing. Maybe they're trying to get new followers anymore, but they're trying to convert the followers that they have. But in the beginning, for every single account, every single person is how to grow that account, right? So now it's a different shift of marketing. Their marketing has evolved from the beginning videos that they posted to what they're posting right now. So that evolution is so important, and people don't remember that. People don't scroll all the way to the bottom to see the first videos that those people were creating, because that's where the golden tickets are, right? Let's see what kind of video, let's see the type of people they were attracting. And then from there, little by little, you start seeing the shift, you start seeing the evolution. So that's the biggest tip I can give somebody. Scroll down to the bottom and see how these big creators started.
100%. I mean, that is the ultimate hack right there. And when I was creating trainings to upgrade my program, that's what I did. I found all the biggest people and I scrolled. And sometimes it took little while, but I scrolled all the way to the bottom. I was like, okay, let's find some patterns. And you're absolutely right, because the easiest way to double or triple your sales is to double or triple your conversions, meaning take your existing audience and double, triple, quadruple the number of people who buy, because trying to get new people in the all the time after you've gotten big. Obviously, in the beginning, you have to get new people in, but trying to do that forever is really difficult. But once you have 100,000 followers or 200,000 followers or 500,000 followers, if you just focus on converting them, I mean, what percentage of people do you need to convert to a high ticket product to make $1 million a year? Not very many. You know what I mean? So yeah, you're absolutely right. You nailed their strategy that they're executing very well. But the other thing you can do, in I'll ask you, Andre. I had a little training slide that I shared with my group yesterday. Should I go ahead and share it to try to give people another idea of how they might get started?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
So
So
if
if
you're
you're
not
watching
watching
it,
on YouTube, there you go.
yeah, you got to come over to YouTube to see it. So, search Evolved Marketing Podcast on YouTube and it'll pop up here. But you can see this screen right here, correct, Andre?
Yeah.
So I called it hack the algorithm, and that's just something fun that I did, a little buzzworthy. But here's the thing: before you are known in the market, you have to talk about what people care about. Because when you're just getting started, you're not an influencer yet. Nobody cares about Brian Brewer when he's getting started. Nobody cares about you when they get started, but people care what they care about. So this is a modified training that I used to give for YouTube, but it can be easily
Mm.
applied to TikTok or Instagram as well. And I'll go ahead and break this down step by step. So let's say this big green circle is everybody in your market or every potential customer in your market, right? This big green circle, let's say we're promoting an affiliate marketing course or something like Roadmap to Riches that's a beginner friendly business model. So this big green circle is everybody who's ever wanted to make money online, whether they're actively searching it on YouTube or whether it's in the back of their mind and they're going to stop the scroll on your content, right? That makes sense, right, Andre? That's everybody.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So now if we have everybody, who's trying to attract everybody? A lot of people are trying to attract everybody. Everybody wants a piece of this market. So if we just create content that's like very vague and general and basic, it might hit. But what if it doesn't, right? We want to talk about controlling what you can control. And we're simply not going to compete if we just go out there and say the same old, here, I'm going to show you how to make $1,000 a day, because there's 100,000 marketers doing the same thing. So what we have to do is niche down a little bit with our content to try to attract the right demographics. So especially if we're on TikTok and stuff like that, TikTok and Instagram, what we need to do before we can break out a 200 view jail or what have you is we need to build a community of people who are loyal to us, because that's going to be what triggers the algorithms to say, oh, cool, here's a small group of people. It might be 20 people, it might be 30 people, but they love this type of content. So let's go find more people like that. So what we have to do is niche down a little bit to try to find those folks. So instead of talking about make money online, maybe we look a little smaller and think about everybody who might be interested in our niche. And that's where we talk about maybe the opportunity of affiliate marketing, right? Because there's a bunch of different
Yeah.
ways to make money online. But once we start talking about affiliate marketing, now we have a smaller subset of people who might be interested. But what if we
But
take that a step?
also targeting the demographics, just how you said it, right? So you can go and talk just to stay-at-home moms, or you
Right.
can go straight to parents that are working two jobs. You get me? Or like or dads that are never at home. You get stuff like that. You can target the demographic that you're looking for.
Right. And that's exactly what we're talking about. Well, what if we go smaller than that, right? What if we start thinking about a subject we can stand out in, right? Now we have a smaller group of people, which is going to give us an easier chance to stand out and build those quote unquote social media community members who want to follow us and keep watching our content. Or we either talk about a smaller sub niche of people who have similar life experiences plus the same pains and desires in us. Now we're getting either even smaller. So it's not just make money online. It's, hey, if you're a dad who's working 60 hours a week and you want to be there because your kids are turning 10 and you're starting to worry about missing out on their formative, teenage years, and on top of that you're worried about college coming up, then I have an opportunity for you. Right? See, now we're speaking directly, but we can start building that community. And once again, this is for people who are just getting started. It's like, how do we get those 10, 20, 30 ride or dies who are going to comment and follow us and be like, yeah, I'm interested. We could talk about similar life experiences, or exactly the opposite is we can talk about people who are familiar with products, right? If we talk about things that they care about, then we can attract them as well. And this goes back to kind of be a little bit counterintuitive how we started, where you don't want to attract the people who are already purchased into a program you're promoting. But what you can do is you can attract people who've purchased into a similar program and then offer them a new opportunity, an opportunity
Mm.
switch. And this is a great way to be focusing on building the community in the beginning. For example, I'm not telling you to trash another program, but if you try to attract people who are intimately familiar with Legendary Marketer and the 15-day online business builder challenge, it might be a worthy endeavor to attract them and introduce them to something like Roadmap to Riches with master resale rights.
Exactly. I mean, that's what Alex was doing with Mila's course, right? He was like targeting the 90% of people that haven't bought into the program that they're promoting at the moment, right? So it's just a different offer, different sell. But then you have to do it the right way, right? Like I hate when people just trash other programs just to get their attention to their own offer, right? It's just like, come on, you shouldn't do that, right? Like that's just not ethical in my mind. People do it, and that is marketing at its best, because it is in the books and everything. Even Russell Brunson talks about it, right? Like poking the bear type of thing. But regardless of that, right? It's just no, I don't feel good doing that, to be honest. I never trash other programs. And something that Dave also said, he said that you can burn your bridges, right? Because when the new offer that you're offering becomes zero, that you can get any more leads. Now, what are you gonna do? You're gonna go back to what works. But now you already burned the bridge by shaming on that program because you wanted to promote your own program. And then when that happens, now you're gonna be stuck in, okay, now what do I do? Right?
Yeah.
So that's something that happens in real life too, never burn your bridges. The moment that you do that, then everything just goes downhill.
Yeah. And that's one thing you realize as you evolve in this business is the digital marketing world is smaller than it seems. You know what I mean? It seems like it's so big, but it's not. People know, people watch. I think it was funny the other day. I was doing a campaign, and it was a small campaign. It wasn't my big list, so I was kind of looking into it, and I noticed some marketers. I'm not going to name any names, but I noticed some marketers opting into it based on their email addresses. So it's like, okay, they're just checking me out, seeing what I'm up to, probably keeping an eye on me to see if I'm going to trash their program or not. And obviously, I'm not. But it's funny. The digital marketing world is a lot smaller than people think it is.
Yeah, I mean, like everybody's list, and I am just there just because I'm noisy. I just want to know what they're doing. I just want to
Yeah.
see what kind of emails they send. But that's true. Honestly, you just did a campaign, right? About you're quitting Master Resale, right? And I was like, okay, let's see why. So I joined the thing. I watched the whole video, but I still don't know why. It's like you hooked me. You hooked me to opting to that offer, and I'm still wondering like why. It's just funny just to see like different aspects and just how you happened to you, right? Like somebody copied the whole email that you had it on your campaign for their marketing expert campaign, I guess you can say, right? But it was just a copy and paste of an email that you created, right? We're not here to trash anybody, People can use the resources that they you give people, right? Because at the end of the day, it's a resource, right? But when you market yourself as the expert, you might want to change a couple things.
Yeah, maybe throw a few new words in there or something like that. And, I don't know, recreate an image or something like
Or
that. But
run it through ChatGPT or something,
yeah, and that's kind of to the point. It's like, man, this world is small. People are going to find out, and hopefully, you want to be in this business long term. So, um, you know, remember that. Your reputation is important. But also, that's something to consider for the beginner as well. How can you take what's working, right? Scroll all the way to the bottom, like you said, Andre, and like I confirmed, see what worked for the big marketers in the beginning. Put your little twist on it. You know what I mean? I've said this in the past. Sometimes it's better to be different than good. And if you give people a new angle or a new opinion or slightly different wording or it just stands out. That's what this really is all about. We're vying for
Yeah.
attention. We need the attention so we can have the opportunity to share our message and share our offers. That's what marketing is. It's not about being cool. It's about attracting attention. And I've done this in the past where I've seen, those 7-second videos that are going super viral. Maybe they're a thought, like for example, they introduced the one that worked really well for me was it introduced an alternative to a 401k. And I don't know what the wording of it was, but it was like if you invest in a full value UIL or whatever, which I don't know what that is,
Mm.
then you can have $1 million by the time you retire. And I saw that and I was like, oh, it's gone super viral. So let's put a twist on it. And I took the hook. I said, hey, if you invest in a whatever it is for $300 a week, and then it went dot, 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 that's still harder than learning how to make $1,000 a week with affiliate marketing or something like that. So it was just a different twist, but it leveraged what was working and it stood out, got tons of reach, generated tons of leads and comments, and it worked really well. So don't be afraid to throw your
Yeah.
little angle into it.
And I'll give you guys two examples right now that I'm thinking about. There was a video that went viral back in the day. It was did you know Apple will pay you to whatever, right? Did you know you can work from Apple? So most people had their laptops, right, like with the Apple sign. So another person, he had his own twist where he came into the picture and bid an apple, an actual apple. You get me? And he was like, "Did you know Apple will pay you to do whatever, right?" And it's just like that simple twist brought so many people like eyes into his video. That video went super viral and he got tons of leads, tons of sales just because he wasn't doing exactly what other people were doing. But it was the same idea. It was literally the same idea. There's another one, I think Alex did this video where did you know that these companies will pay you to read books, right? And at some point he was having a lot of books and then just juggling them and then they drop down. So that's a different twist that he added. And that video got a bunch of views and probably a bunch of sales too. But it's just like, don't just do what people are doing, grab those ideas and then make them on your own, add your own little twist, because that's gonna make you unique, right? Everybody's unique. We're not like the same people. But if you're able to show that on your content, then you have an advantage as a beginner, right? Because you're different. You're different than everybody's making those videos.
Yeah, and that's why it's important to really dive in and start to really learn how to master marketing. Don't just build a funnel and find a product and then start copying the same content because what the two examples you gave there are something that we talk a lot about in my program, and it's visual hooks. You know what I mean? The apple is a visual hook that can stop the scroll. Alex's video, I know exactly which one you're talking about, where he's carrying all the books. Does that really add anything to the story or to the text? No, but it's a visual hook that attracts attention. And in the beginning, that's what you have to do. I'm on the point now where, especially on TikTok and Facebook, where I can give my point of view and there's going to be enough people who listen as long as it's accurate and relevant and all those things. But in the beginning, you just got to start attracting attention. I'm not telling you have to dance, right? But you have to use all the available tools and tricks to give you the best possible chance of a beneficial outcome, right? You're not guaranteed to go viral just because you bring an Apple in when you're talking about Apple, the computer company. You're not guaranteed millions of views if you're thinking about Apple paying you $50 an hour and you look confused at your Samsung and then throw it in the pool, but it can help. And eventually, if you use
Yeah,
every single trick to your advantage, eventually you're going to increase your odds of success to the point where eventually you'll hit it.
exactly, exactly. I think, beginners have an advantage, like just think about it like, right? Because you can market yourself differently than other people. And that can help you explore your account, right? Because that's the goal. The goal first is to get those followers. Once you get those followers, and then you can start learning more about marketing, learning more about how to people, the pain points, learn how to sell. Because just because you're recommending a product doesn't mean that you know how to sell, right? And that's something that you learn as you go, right? Because you can be the one that knows everything in the beginning. So you learn as you go, you get those followers, and then you're gonna be like, whoa, now how do I talk to all these people? How do I convert these people? So it's a process. And something that I mentioned in one of my coaching calls too is that you have to fall in love with it. Fall in love with the process at first, learn it, like it, love it, hate it, have all your emotions on the table with the whole process, with your whole business, because it will be up and down. And the moment that you realize that I love this process, right? Even though it's negative and positive, once you get to know that, then you're gonna go further along and than other people that will probably just stop and give up.
And that's just the way it is with life. This digital marketing thing is no different than life. For example, right now, my son, he's just turned 10. He is trying to learn how to do a backflip. So he can do a backflip on a trampoline, but he wants to be able to do a backflip on the ground. So we against his mother's wishes, we have the mattress out in the living room and I'm trying to spot him and stuff like that. And he gets so frustrated because he just wants to be able to nail the backflip and he wants to do it at school and he wants to do it on the baseball field if they win. And he gets frustrated. And that's why I tell him, like, no, that's just the goal. Enjoy the process. Enjoy getting a little bit better, a little bit further rotation, a little bit closer. Enjoy the time we're spending together. Like, you got to fall in love with the process, whatever it is. And then you'll go further and you'll hit it. Because if you hate the process, if you can't find anything to love, you're not going to want to do it. If he got mad because he fell on his knees hard, he's never going to learn a backflip. But if he's like, "Oh, that was a little bit closer," and he's loving the process, then eventually he's gonna hit it. And that's it. And kind of a last thought I have, since you brought up your coaching call, I want to go back to the pattern, the visual cues. Yeah, we have a gentleman in my inner circle who is a little bit been in what they call the 200 view TikTok jail. So we talked about visual hooks and stuff like that. He created a video of him pulling a stump out with this truck, and he was talking about feeling stuck in life, with a voiceover and stuff like that. And it worked. It got, a couple thousand views. It started, he generated him his first leads just because he took the chance on being a little different. The messaging's still the same. Hate your job, hate your life, want a better opportunity, learn a skill. But he switched it up a little bit, took the same idea, but had these visual hooks, if you will, and it worked. Now he's not like he's set for life now or anything like that. But and now he's excited. He's got momentum. He's got a lead coming in,
Yeah.
which will lead to more leads. And and he's just doing exactly what you said, Andre. He's falling in love with the process. I think that's it. Well, this was a fun episode. Thanks for spending time with me, Andre. Thanks for spending time with us, listener. It was great.
Cool. We'll see you guys on the next episode of the World Marketing Podcast every Wednesday, 8 a.m. Central Time.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.